Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us here at McAllen City Hall. We are coming to you live on our channel, and we have some very important announcement and some explanation on Governor Abbott's orders and how they will impact the city of McAllen, businesses, our residents, and facilities. And so to talk about that, I'd like to introduce the Honorable Jim Darling, Mayor of the city of McAllen.
Thank you, Soshi. Well, welcome today, and we want to make sure that we communicate with our community relating to the governor's most recent orders. And, you know, reflecting on what happened over the past year, there was quite a bit of confusion as these orders came out. We had orders from the state, from the county, from the city, many conflicting orders, and certainly, in all due respect to our legalist community, not necessarily understandable. And this order here is kind of reminiscent of that. You know, one thing we were talking about what a city is a city a business? Is it a jurisdiction? Is it an entity? You know, in some cases it's all of those, in some cases it's none of those, and so we're trying to work through that. But there are some things we know for sure from this order. And the first one is all businesses, our typical business, restaurants, stores, department stores, those kind of things, can decide what they want to do. They can require masks or they don't have to require masks, and so you can come in. The big thing we want to emphasize on that is, you know, we have to have mutual respect. So if a store or a restaurant requires masks, please wear them. You know, it says here a person can't be, can't be arrested for not wearing a mask. The issue once you go in a store that says you can't wear a mask is no longer are you there because of mask. It's, you know, you can have no shirts, no shoes, no service. Well, that's the same thing. And because we don't want law enforcement to be involved, but if you have a business that requires masks, please wear them, respect that business. You're not proving anything by going in there and doing that, and we don't want to have our police department have to intervene in those situations. But as we have in the past, we will, respecting the business's right, which the governor gave them the right to require masks. So hopefully we all understand that and do that, and make sure the businesses we ask, make sure you let people know whether they have to wear a mask or not. Don't let them guess, and treat those people with respect. And the other thing, we want to make sure that we're not putting our first line people in a store in a position of making that. You don't want somebody that's been there behind the counter getting in an argument with a customer from that. So hopefully the business management will take responsibility if they are going to require masks to make sure they have people there that can handle those situations appropriately and not leave it just to the first line workers in that business. And so hopefully maybe if the chamber would do it, would maybe provide some training from that standpoint and how to handle those particular instances. But the best thing is respect from that standpoint. As far as the city goes, there are certain areas that were mandated by federal law to still require masks, and that's anything dealing with transportation, our bus service, our airport. If we had any kind of thing where we're involved with federal transportation, are still required to wear a mask under federal law. So you have that federal layer that supersedes even state law from that standpoint. The one thing we need to also understand is the limitation on whether a store can be open 50%, 75%, or 100% depends on the hospital capacity. And right now, for a number of COVID patients. So right now, our hospitals are under 15% with COVID patients, right? And that's a region, so we're very lucky because Ottawa County has more than 15%, but we do it for the whole region, so that includes Cameron County and Starr County. And because those hospitals have less than 15% in those counties, we're able to take advantage of those numbers, if you will. And so we're pretty close. So if we don't respect businesses, we don't respect each other, we can go over 15% in those hospitals, and that means our businesses that we're trying to keep open for economic purposes will be curtailed again. And if the county's consistent with what they have done in the past, I can't speak for the judge, but his consistent program, his consistent position was to limit exposure to the COVID. In that case, we'd go to 50% or less in all likelihood. So make sure you have respect for their business, and we want them to all open up. We want them to open up safely. And we don't want to have the consequences of not opening up safely and having to go back and roll back the capacity of all our businesses in our city. I'd also like to point out that there are public places in the city. And so our libraries, City Hall lobby, for instance, park facilities, et cetera, are open to the public. And we're not sure, actually, whether the governor's order lets us as an entity restrict masks in those places. So we're strongly encouraging people to do that. We're going to seek legal advice so we make sure that we're not caught up in some legal quagmire about whether we can or not. Our position is if we can and legally justify that, then we're going to head and do that. But we'll give a report next week. Hopefully all the dust will settle. Some cities have run out and we're requiring masks citywide on all city facilities. That's fine, but we don't want to be the leader and involve our city in adjudication that's not necessary. So we're going to take a look back. It's our intent to go to City Commission and hopefully get that. But we want a little bit more clarification under this law, which is contradictory at best and has some confusion in it. And hopefully we'll get a better answer next week for that. So as far as private offices, city manager's office, the mayor's office, everybody's individual offices where the public can't just come in generally will still require a mask. Any public places, we'll determine that later on. We're asking people to do a mask. We're strongly encouraging it, but we're not making that an absolute rule until we get better clarification. Let me talk a little bit about vaccinated people. A lot of people say, well, I got vaccinated, so I'm okay. I can't spread it. That's not true. A person that's vaccinated can still spread, can still have, what it is you can scoot the virus, but your antibodies is fighting it. During that period that's in your body and it's fighting it, you can be contagious. So just because you have been vaccinated doesn't make you foolproof. You can go anywhere and you're not endangering anybody else. You may be safe from it, but you can still endanger other people. So I don't want to have everybody think they're invincible because I got vaccinated. So just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean a mask is not still important. Not for you necessarily, but certainly for your loved ones, your visitor, anybody that you're coming in contact with. So hopefully you remember that. I'm trying to think, have anything out yet? Public schools are operated under Texas Education Agency, so you have to look for the public schools to make sure that they abide by whatever standards they have. I think right now it's kind of somewhat discretionary within school districts. I think that'll be maintained at least for a while under Texas Education Agency standards, but you have to look for those. We can't speak for the school district. We would do the same thing as we do with anybody else. We encourage masking to the extent possible in school atmosphere. Let me think. Huh? Yeah, it's effective March 10th, so we have a couple days to decide. That's Wednesday, I think. So we'll have something out before Wednesday. And we're taking a look at some cities have already made declarations that they're requiring masks in all city facilities. We imagine there'll be some response from either the Attorney General or the Governor relating to those, especially as the larger cities take positions on that may be contrary to what the intent is. We can't determine, it's kind of confusing, we can't determine the full intent because, like I say, we qualify as different things in different capacities, and so we'll have to iron that out with the legal community. So the bottom line is be safe, be respectful to everybody. We want our businesses to open, we want them to open safely, and we want to keep them open. And the only way we do that is respect each other, practice safe communications and safe meetings and those kind of different things. Any questions? Do you want to, Roy, do you want to say something? Do I have any questions? Okay. Well, thank you. Stay safe. Thanks for being masked. We appreciate it. I might point out one thing on employees, if I haven't said this. From a standpoint of employment, that's really dictated by, to a great extent, by federal law, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and OSHA. And you can require employees to wear a mask. And there's a couple of exceptions to that. And the first one is based for religious purposes, and the second one is health related. And that's kind of been the requirement by the federal government as it relates to making employees wear masks. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.